Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Monitor webinar today. I'm Dimitropoulos, Event Coordinator of OpenAIRE, and today our speakers are Dimitropoulos, Service Manager of Monitor for Funders, who will present a service overview, give a dashboard walkthrough, and the new website launch. Giulia Malaguarnera, OpenAIRE Outreach and Engagement Officer, who will provide a subscription plans breakdown, and Leonidas Pispiringas, Service Manager of Monitor for Institutions, who will present the link results functionality for the dashboard managers. A few housekeeping notes before we begin. We kindly ask that you keep your microphones muted and your cameras off during the presentations. And for the Q&A sessions, you are welcome to unmute and turn your camera on if you'd like to actively participate. You can also submit your questions here in the chat. Please note that this session is being recorded and transcribed, and if you wish to participate in the Q&A but prefer not to be included in the recording, please let us know here in the chat and we'll ensure that your contribution is edited out. And let's proceed with our first speaker. Harry, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So let me share my screen. Share. Okay, so hopefully you can view it.
Yes.
Okay, moving some things out of the way with the Zoom. Okay, so hello everyone. So thank you, Marily. I'm Harry Dimitropoulos, and I'll be giving you an overview of the OpenAIRE Monitor. So this is an introduction for the new people that are joining. We're also going to see, we have a new website, so I'll be talking about, show you a bit the new website that we have. Let me go next. Okay, so yes, these are the presenters Marily mentioned. Okay, so the agenda is the service overview, give you an overview, talk about the new website, walk through one of the dashboards, and talk about the subscription plans. I just lost my screen. Hang on, sorry. We're back. Okay. The subscription plan breakdown will be given by Giulia, and then we'll have a Q&A session.
Harry, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah?
We lost your screen sharing.
Yes, because somebody interrupted here. Electricity, sorry. Desktop 2 again. Share.
Yes,
Yeah,
all
I
good.
think I should be okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, so many of these things have been repeated before, but I'm going to go through them because this is an overview of the service for the new people, as I mentioned. So the idea of monitoring, as most of you, will I assume you would know, because that's why you're here, is to be able to understand your organization and be able to study the data for finding insights and be able to make decisions. So specifically now, why for OpenAIRE Monitor? This is because OpenAIRE, well, we're all about open science and open data based on principles of inclusiveness, transparency, and replicability. So if you want to check your open science uptake and your open science outputs, OpenAIRE is an obvious choice. Also, it's not about just publications. We have full coverage of open science, so including research data, software, other research products, because everything is based on the OpenAIRE graph, which I'll talk about briefly later. Also, the indicators that we developed are developed together with the community. So they're indicators that should make sense to all the stakeholders, and we're always open for new indicators that you may suggest and that you for new views of your data. Plus, it's fully embedded in the EOS infrastructure. So let me go here. Just to give an idea that there's different types of monitor dashboards that we have. We have dashboards for institutions, for funders, for research initiatives, and also for publishers. This is a new one coming out due to the work of the Craft OA project. So this will appear there as well. And for each type of dashboard, if you're a funder, you will come first to me in order to set up your dashboard in the way you like it. So all of these dashboards have default kind of settings. So once you get your dashboard, you have the basic functionality for all, but they could be customized for each one's needs. So that's why we've allocated a different expert for each stakeholder. There's also the Open Science Observatory, which is a different thing. This is currently about Europe and open science in Europe. You can see the websites here. I'm not going to talk about the Open Science Observatory. We're focusing on Monitor today. So Monitor is built based on obviously the indicators it has and it displays, and they are divided in these sections, different themes. So we have indicators for funding, so about the grants and the projects, about research output, and as I said before, not just publications, but for dataset softwares and other research products. Indicators for open science, for fairness, open access rights, open access routes, article processing charges, and Plan S indicators. For collaborations, at the moment via project participations and via co-authorship and co-creation, and also impact indicators based on reach and frequency, so downloads and citations. And we've also have indicators for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And this hopefully will expand as the needs of your needs evolve. So each of these indicators come in different views. There's many breakdowns by different fields of interest. So it could be by research product types, by domains, say by fields of science, over time, by country, by data source, by funders. We will see that during the walkthrough. And some of the main functionalities of the monitors that we try to make it as user-friendly as possible. There are interactive visualizations and they keep getting improved. So I'll show you some things that are currently in beta and will be coming also in production very soon. You can export, download the data and the visualizations in different formats. There's filtering functionality. You can browse the data behind the indicators. There is some editing of the visualizations and dashboards, so you can customize them via your manager and admin section of the dashboard. And there is documentation provided on the website, and I'll show you all that with the when we talk about the new website. So the idea, as I said before, is we customize the dashboard in one-on-one code design sessions. So once you have your dashboard, there is one to go which is ready by default, and then we can customize it. And also you can customize and control the way you share it. So there is, you can have specific indicators or entire sections which are public, which you could use for showcasing, restricted sections, which could be, for example, for team members, some indicators that are interesting to only specific teams, and private indicators only to managers, which are work in progress, so for reviewing purposes. Your entire dashboard could also be public, restricted, or private, but every section has its own settings if you want. So I just need to briefly talk about the OpenAIRE graph, because this is the backbone where all the data comes from. So the OpenAIRE graph is a scholarly knowledge graph. So it's a collection of metadata describing entities of the research life cycle, and it has all the relationships among them. It is open, because it must be. It is complete because it comes from trusted and known sources, deduplicated. We do disambiguation so that statistics make sense. Transparent, there is provenance. It is not a closed network, so it's participatory. It's decentralized and trusted because we do a lot of manual curation. for all the data that comes in. A very kind of high-level view of what is in the graph. So we have what we call research products, which is not just publications, as I said. There's data sets, there's software and other research products. Those are linked to persons and to organizations, and linked also to projects by the funders and their funding streams and projects. And this is the data sources from where we collect all the data. And there's all these links between them. So what cites what is supplement to what refers to what. Here we can see the graph pipeline, how the graph is produced. So on the left, we see all the various data sources that come into OpenAIRE. So things like repositories, open access journals, aggregators, quiz systems, publishers, registries. Some of the OpenAIRE services where we connect these sources. So it's OpenAIRE Provide, where we have the metadata validator to check the compliance, the OpenAIRE guidelines, and the OpenAIRE broker that provides added value to the people, to the repositories that join. And we have some OpenAIRE partners, some instrumental data sources like Open Citations, OpenOrgs, OpenAPC, that all these feed into the graph. So there's the first step is to aggregate all this information. The second step is to enrich by mining. So here we collect the full text from the PDFs, and we produce links like, say, publication to projects, to the funding, or publications to data, or publications to software, citations. We also find the organization affiliations. And in addition, we classify with fields of science and by sustainable development goals. Then there is the step of deduplication, because all these come from different sources. So we can have a publication coming from different sources, but also in different versions, preprints, postprints, and things like that. And they all deduplicated so that we have one entity and we know the publication while keeping the provenance from where everything came from. There's another stage of enrichment by inference. This is not the full text mining, but the actual graph inference. So we are able to propagate, say, a funding project via the links in the graph. And then there's a final step where everything is harmonized and cleaned before the OpenAIRE graph is produced, which is a public graph dataset, and there's an API to access it. And it's published also in Zenodo. Now, where does the monitor come? Well, it feeds into that. It takes the OpenAIRE graph information, and it goes through, I'm not showing it here, but what we call a stats database, a stats DB, which produces the aggregated figures that feed the indicators of the monitor. And then from people that have monitor, we also get feedback. So we keep improving this process. If something is missing from the data, it could be seen, it could be a data source needs to be added, or something needs to be adjusted. So it's a continuous loop that keeps evolving and improving itself. Some example of data sources contributing to the graph. So we have more than 2.5 thousand direct data sources out of 145,000 overall sources. So it's things like thematic institutional repositories like PubMed, Archives, Zenodo, different aggregators like DOAJ, other research graphs, software tools, and things like Elixir and Software Heritage, publishers with which we collaborate, funders, the European International Funders, and various registries like DataCite and Crossref, ROR, and so on, and ORCID. Okay, so this is just for me to remind myself that since the last time that the previous community call, what the new thing is the Plan S indicators. Now we had them only for institutions. Now they're all for all stakeholders, and it's something for me to remind you to show quickly the roadmap while I'm showing you the new website. So now I'm gonna walk you through the new website and we look at one of the dashboards because these go together. Let me switch. Okay, so hopefully you can see the new website. Just so that you know, down here there is a questionnaire for feedback, which will be great if you are using the monitor. We really appreciate if you take the time to. It's just I think less than 10 questions that will help us improve this. I'm just taking this out of the way now. So the new website has a general overview here. You can see the number of dashboards that we have, some of the basic principles. You can also see the reference to the graph and the numbers that feed the graph. So we have almost 195 million publications, 75 million data items, 663K research software, other research products here, 185 funders and 3.6 million projects. And also here you can go to different examples of dashboards which are open. And you can browse them all through there if you want. And there is always a section for contact us and FAQs. Now, this section covers a lot about the monitor. What is monitor? I'm just very briefly going to show you here. So it includes, I think I mentioned about the different accessing rights, public, restricted, private, our mission statement, the funding indicators, and an explanation of why they're divided like that. You can also go to detailed lists for each of these. These exist also. And there's multiple ways to access the same information. So if I go here to funders, I can see lists of the indicators that exist for funders. Now, I go here. There is also the pipeline. And if you're someone that has a dashboard, you can also go to browse. Your dashboards all go there. We'll go there to show you one of the dashboards in a minute. There is a section about why monitor. So we have the idea of the principles of why we created monitor. And there is a section on who is monitor for. So it has the various stakeholders. So you can browse per stakeholder with different kind of objectives, slightly different objectives for each. And again, you can visit examples from there directly. In this section also, you have access to the change log. So you can see the updates that happen in the graph. So there's things fixed, things added, things deleted. You can also go to, here, to the roadmap, which I mentioned earlier. So here you can see what is coming. And so this is the 2025 roadmap. These are the indicators we have in the pipeline, some UI, UX improvements. And there's things that we're considering to do, but these have not been planned yet, like these, that you can see them here, new indicators. And there's different sections for institutional dashboards, funder dashboards, and research initiative dashboards. And usually an indicator is developed, then moves through these stages. So one of those was the Plan S, whereas in our previous call, you had them only for the institutional dashboards. Now you have them for funders and research initiatives. So they moved all the way to done here. And here is the section also for the publisher dashboard I mentioned before, which are developed in conjunction with the Craft OA project. Here also you can visit the team and you can see who is involved and who you need to contact if you want some help. So using monitor is about setting up the monitor. So again, for each stakeholder, there's a different section. So for funders, you would see, what you need to do, what we need to do. So there's different steps showing the process with different links to whenever they're needed. So first you go to join OpenAIRE, for example. Let me see. And then get started is once you decided to, you want more information about the dashboard and you need a consultation call, then you can fill in the information there. This can also be used also as a help desk if you have a problem with something. So you can uh, give the information you want and attach also a file if needed. So community, we've integrated the community calls here. You don't need to go to the OpenAIRE website to see the calls. So here you can also find the calls that we're having. And this is the one today, and the previous calls, the recordings, and for previous months and previous years as well, past events there. Also, there's a news section where you can see some blog posts, news items. So we've collected all these things together. There's also a link to our OpenAIRE podcast. Now, in the support section, you'll hopefully find anything you need when you have you want additional information. So there is supporting material which connects to the OpenAIRE catalog, and you will find here things like the one-page fact sheet you can download. There is an ebook. There are very general videos and other guides. Okay. There is also an FAQ section. Again, from here you can ask your own questions from the help desk, but they're in 3 categories: about monitor generals, about your dashboard configuration, and about troubleshooting. So, for example, how can I add a new user in the dashboard? And you can find that information there. Okay, and again, directly from here, you can go to the help desk, which is this form. We also have a section about our methodological approach. So the principles, talking about the OpenAIRE graph. Again, everything is fully kind of cross-linked and referenced, and there's documentation, and you can go to the appropriate websites for more information. Also, we have the section on terminology and construction. So what do we mean when we say unidentified project? You might see some graphs that have that. And you can see the inherited and inferred attributes and also the constructed attributes that we create in OpenAIRE. So there, hopefully all the definitions are here. If you know, what do they mean when they say, I don't know, hybrid? You can find the definitions here. And also the indicators, which I showed before. There's an overview, the indicator themes, and then you can go for each section and you can see the indicators and browse by categories and subcategories, for example. I don't think there's anything else here. Okay, so now I will walk you through one of the dashboards. So to go to the actual service, you go here, browse dashboards. So when you go here, you go to the view of the different dashboards, which you can filter by funder, by stakeholder, basically, research initiative, research institution, and publishers. And some are public, some are restricted. So I'm going to go to the research institutions now and go to show you, as an example, University of Minho in Portugal, one of our partners. Okay, so what you have on the left is the structure which follows apart from the overview, which is a general overview, there are these sections which are in that kind of circle I showed you before. So the different indicator themes. So there's for funding, for research output, open science, collaborations, and impact. And these are expandable with subcategories. There's the overview section where for example, here, University of Minho shows some basic graphs on publications over time, datasets over time, publications by field of science or by SDGs. There's some openness indicators, and so on and so forth. Just to show you that in all of the graphs, you have this tooltip there, or in all the indicators, where you can view them in full screen. You can print them, download them in different types of images or as SVG vector image. You can also download as CSV in Excel, and you can view the data table, which can be seen underneath if you want, and you can hide. You can also zoom in sections that you need to, so you can go further in, and then I reset zoom from there, and select things that you want or you don't want to see. So many of the new graphs are interactive. Some also have different facets there. So here you can see the values of publications by field of science level 1 over time, but you can also see them as a percentage. So in different sections, you will see different options. It's worth going through and exploring all these things. Again, we have some new kind of indicators that we didn't have before for collaborations. So for example, it's by number of project collaborations, but there's also by number of co-authored publications. So that was the overview. There's a section on funding. So here we have the overview. The purpose of this is not to actually walk you through all the indicators, just to give you an idea. So it's so you know you have a general sense of direction of where to go to find things. And there's specific for EC project by framework by FP, so for Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe. This section on research output has two categories here. It's for all publications, but also a subsection for the peer review publications. So you will have different indicators for these. And they're all for different categories. So here you have for publications, but you can go for data sets, for software, other research products. And there is a lot of indicators. Now, here you can find the open science indicators. So there's some scores. Some of the indicators have some additional information. You can click on the notes to see. These were composite scores, but there's also for publications, datasets, and software. Here we have a lot of tabs. So we have open access indicators. So for open access, embargo, restricted, closed access, or unspecified. And as I said before, you can view the graphs as you want them. Now here, for example, you might want to use the zoom multiple times to see what you want because of the large numbers there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's many. Here we see the top 20 journals by different, if they are gold open access publications, green open access, by fields of science, and so on and so forth. It's for datasets and software. These are the collaboration now indicators I will show you. So these are by country of collaborating organizations, the top 20 collaborating organizations, and the co-funded research output indicators. There's also the ones via co-authorship, top 20 collaborating organizations by co-authorship. And here are the impact indicators. We can also find the SDG indicators. So we have by downloads, different views. So here's, for example, average downloads per publication over time by access rights. And here are by fields of science, levels 1 and 2. So as you can see, more interactive, you can find a lot of information for each of those. Top 30 journals, most downloaded FOS, level 2 publications, a lot of things. And there's also the section on citations. Again, by fields of science and other views. And this is sections just for the SDG indicators. So publications by SDGs by access rights. So Minio we see like in health, it's high, the output there. And many more for APCs and SDGs and for citations by SDGs, downloads by SDGs, various combinations of things. And anything that we haven't, that you are interested in, we haven't got, you can always suggest, what about an indicator for this view? And if the information is in the graph, then it's easy for us to produce the indicators. Briefly, I'm just going to go to the beta monitor just to show some new improvements that are coming. We've changed the way the tabs, they're a bit cleaner now. You will have things like, you will be able to see them here instead of having a huge page with a lot of indicators where we categorize them with these tabs. The funding section has been updated for the funders. So there's the EC projects by FP is much cleaner and has more information for the funders that before didn't have for all these sections. And before I close and pass the floor to Leonidas. He wants to show you something new, and then or should Giulia, I think, go next, and then Leonidas wants to show something new. I'm trying to be mindful of the time a bit, that's why. Okay, so let me stop sharing.
Thanks, Harry. Okay, there are already some questions in the chat. Meanwhile, I'm sharing my screen. Okay.
And some you will answer now, I think, I see. One is about costs.
Yes, sorry for this, just a second. Okay. So, focusing on subscription plan. As Harry has showed before, the OpenAIRE monitor is an integral part of the OpenAIRE graph. And as you may imagine, all these onboarding resources and all this pipeline has a cost behind that is partially covered by projects. But what is behind our infrastructure is that is made by public subsystem, mining and providing subsystem and test subsystem. All of them have a certain computing costs. So the OpenAIRE approach by now was that we had funded access and usage and evolvement that has been done through the Horizon Europe grants, but also previous projects. OpenAIRE is an organization that is supported also by members that are covering some office human resources. We also are applying for procurements at the national and European level. And as a part of this sustainability, the OpenAIRE organization decided to start some subscriptions that are also part of the request by the subscriber. So the user of the OpenAIRE services asked some clear plans and sustainability. And this is why we try to meet the challenges that are on the sustainability growth of our services, and in particular, what is the sustainability in the community governance, because as Harry has mentioned before, all the OpenAIRE services has structures and governance. Then we need also to balance the core operation and the innovation part. So just the innovation part can be covered by grants and funding, while the maintenance needed this sustainability plan. And then the data growth and the scalability, maintaining the openness versus the commercialization. I remind you that OpenAIRE is a non-profit organization made by members that are part of institutions, library, research infrastructures, ICT services. And this is why we are not getting any profits from the sustainability plan that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So why subscribe for an OpenAIRE monitor? Because once you are subscribed, you are owner of the dashboard. We are supporting at the technical level, but you are in charge of checking if the data are corrected and reporting us if you find errors and mistakes that we can check together and solve probably with the repositories that are at the institutional level, or we can check where we are getting the data that are not matching your desired quality. And we always improve the guideline for us to aggregate the data from CRIS system, repositories, and so on, because this is something that we do with you and the rest of our community. Then you have statistics and graphic as you like, that you can also modify and change. We are providing also data that are specific from an institution or university or a specific organization, but we also have the support of OpenAIRE Connect to select some particular part and data of the graph that are of your interest and build a specific monitor. For example, this is the case of university alliances or network that would like to select from multiple universities the data to maybe some text mining based on projects or particular activities that you're interested to, and then we build the monitor accordingly to the data that you are selected. So since the monitor is such customized, we need this support from your side. Now I will share with you the subscription. So if you go to the monitor at openaire.eu, you can go to this tab, subscription, and you will access to this for sustainable plan. The standard is the one that we are suggesting for the research institutions, research performing organization, universities, or smaller institutions that are performing research, as for example, we have the World Bank that is following also at this case study. The advanced is what we are suggesting to the funding organization, because on the normal activities, we also offer some customized text mining. So, for example, all the acknowledgement that can link a publication to a funding projects can be done because of this specific text mining that we are customized for funders. The research infrastructures and network is, as I said before, a little bit more complex, because we are aggregating data from research infrastructures or network. So it has also some kind of breakdown on multiple institutions. And then we also have the possibility of monitor if you are the bundle with the Connect and Monitor together, because it has all the features of Monitor, but the data are coming from the selected part of the graph that you have in your gateway in Connect, which is more a search engine for it's like a single entry in the search engine from multiple institutions and multiple organizations or multiple research research organization that has different kind of infrastructures and resources. I would recommend also that when you are starting at this page, you scroll down, because here you can also have, for example, the monitor for as a national level, and this is the case of the Irish open access monitor that we customized in a tender, but more nations are now requesting a national view of their activities in terms of data and resources. So we usually have meetings with the countries, and we are applying also for tenders to understand the requirement at the country level, and then we build the dashboard. But if you go down here in compare plan, you can also see better what are the different activities that you can have by applying to the standards, advanced or premium. And all the functionality that you have. So the dashboard, all the dashboards that we have are on the cloud. It means that you can access here to browse your dashboards. That you can have a limited number of managers and members. So the managers are those who are who have the full control of the dashboard, while the members can have access to something specific, for instance, to have some specific report. The dashboard can have a different privacy setting. So you can have, as Harry has shown before, these three possibilities. All the data are updated more or less every month. We can say every 5 weeks, more or less. To access to the OpenAIRE services, you can access by your own institutions. So OpenAIRE doesn't require any additional data. You can we support there are also the possibility to support multiple institutions if you get the premium. The customizing text mining can be applied for funders and research infrastructures. You can have data dedicated data snapshot, so you can download them and use in form of JSON file, Excel data, and so on. But also to each dashboard, you can download the CSV. So even if here we say that you don't have dedicated snapshot, it means what we are publishing in Zenodo. But for the single chart, you can have access. And so on. More or less, it's what also you can access also via API. You can export indicators. You can all of them have interactive visualization. We have a different time, but all the questions will be set before. Will be prioritized in our help desk if you are subscribers. And this is the annual subscription fee. If you are part of the OpenAIRE member as organization, you will get the 30% discount. You have also the featured description here if you have forgotten this specific webinar. So with say that, I will pass the floor to Leonidas.
Before you pass, sorry, thank you, Giulia. I just forgot to mention, and it relates to some of the
Yes.
questions here. Let me very quickly share my screen again. Desktop 2. Share. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to say two things. One is that there is browse data. You can click on that, and that links you to kind of an explore view of your data, where you can browse not the aggregated numbers, but the actual, for example, I don't know, publications for specific gear that feed the, you know, there's a lot of fields here, like in OpenAIRE Explorer, but they are related to the dashboard. So we're looking to the European Commission data here, for example, and someone can filter these. Also, if I go back to the dashboard, I forgot to mention also this, that is in beta, but is coming also in production. There's this embed functionality, so you can have the code here to embed graphs on your website. So when they get updated here, will be updated on your site as well. There is also, we didn't go into the admin section like here, where you can actually customize your dashboard. You can create new categories and shift things, new sections and shift around, because there was a question in the chat about things like that. Let me stop sharing so I can see if there's anything else I could answer there. Yeah, there was an interesting question about presenter mode.
Shall I present the lead results and then we can answer the questions?
Yeah, great.
The functionality, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an additional functionality that will be available to all the dashboard managers in OpenAIRE Monitor from tomorrow, I believe, and it's a very important functionality, and it has to do with affiliating research products with your institution. And this was a decision to provide this functionality to the dashboard managers in OpenAIRE Monitor, because there are people that we trust to share with them and give them the ability to enrich this, to help to assist and enrich this process of affiliating research products with the respective institution, as a plus to all the other functionalities that we offer through the OpenAIRE graph on the affiliation matching and during the aggregation of the institutional repositories. So all the dashboard managers are going to have an option link results in the admin page in OpenAIRE Monitor, where they will have two options. One option will be to search the research product via DOI or via title in order to find it in the OpenAIRE index in OpenAIRE Explorer and select it to affiliate associated with the institution, or to upload a specific file with DOIs. I will showcase an example with a simple DOI, with a single DOI. We can link and see this publication by pressing the plus button here. We add it to the list, to the basket. And when we are ready to proceed, we click summarize. We get the list of the links that will be affiliated, of the research entities that will be affiliated with our institutions. And by pressing confirm linking, and also by having this confirmation notice, that it is a very important notice that this information should be valid. And of course, this takes some time to be published, because after the confirmation, this affiliation will be available into OpenAIRE Monitor and in the OpenAIRE graph in the next update that will come in the next update of the OpenAIRE graph, which happens almost every 6 weeks. So by clicking confirm, the process is finalized. And in the users tab, there is a links tab where you can see all the links with the results that we have done with the respective institution, where you can see, you can edit them, and you can also delete them if it was something that was not valid. So this is a functionality for the dashboard managers, and it will be available from tomorrow morning.
Great, thank you, Leonidas. maybe we should look at any remaining questions.
Mhm.
So there was one idea from Ahmad about presenter mode in the dashboard. If so, full screen is great, but being able to use visualizations as slides would be a great feature if not already available. So, well, we don't have that exactly. What we have, I mean, the graph is, as I presented, the indicators, or you can embed them somewhere else, but you can also print them out and create slides. But there is no, at the moment, like an export of all the slides in a kind of presenter view. So I keep saying slides, but I mean indicators. Yes. But it's interesting to consider this. Also, Leonidas, let's see, there's another question here.
The next one, yes, it has to do with the enrichment process of the type of data added.
Okay, so I see things
This
like
is the OpenAIRE provide for the OpenAIRE provide service for the registered data sources, registered repositories, CRIS and open access journals, where they can get enrichment information about the metadata records through the OpenAIRE broker service. They registered through OpenAIRE provide, and they can use the broker API in order to retrieve these enrichments. We can provide you with the respective, if you share your email with the respective documentation, or we can also have a discussion for the details. But it is at the data source level in OpenAIRE provide.
There's also mention about publication funding relationships. So there might be a case that there is a funder that is not yet in OpenAIRE or is in OpenAIRE, but the data is not at the project level. So it's this. So I don't know if you want to expand on that. I assume, are you from Germany? So there could be a question there if DFG funding actually is now in beta, not in production, but is because we had a talk with them very recently, and we're waiting for an API that they're going to develop so we can we used to have down to the project level, but it's out of date at the moment. But anyway, the point is that they will be included in the next update, so you will see DFG funding links. Let me see anything else. About the premium tariff.
I can explain, yes. So the premium subscription is for research, like research infrastructures that are collecting resources from different places. This is why we are adding the complexity, let's say. So, for example, in the case, we have the case of university alliances or network or a national network of repositories that even if they are based their system from different resources, they don't know how to make interoperable or having a single entrance to these resources. And this is why when we are performing a monitor, we need to get the information from all these sources. This is why the premium has a higher subscription fee. But for the institutions, because usually we are able to get easily the affiliation from the universities, and we can also work with you to make better the data from your organization. We are using the standard monitor. If now what we have in beta, and it's upcoming soon, is an umbrella dashboard from university alliances and single organization, universities that are part of this alliance. So we have a monitor with the aggregated data and the statistics, and then browse dashboards for each institutions to have it. Since OpenAIRE is also a signature of QuAIRE, we don't have any kind of ranking in our dashboard based on the organization that we have. But we have the possibility of having a vision, and this could help in case of a network, in case of a shared vision between universities or research organization or infrastructures to understand how improve or what investment you should put on. So, for example, if you see a lower score in fairness and in one institutions, but you see higher in another institutions, it's easier for you to exchange insights to how do it better, what kind of policy you can improve at the institutional level. So this is how we are envisioning the use of the OpenAIRE monitor, but we are looking also to your specific case to understand how you would like to use the tools that we are offering you or you will subscribe to.
Thank you, Giulia, Harry, and Leonidas, for your presentations. Are there any questions? Please feel free to unmute your microphone or write here in the chat. If not, yeah.
So thank you again for the presentation. Nice to see you again. I'll ask my question because maybe it's clearer than writing it. You mentioned Harry the terminologies that you use. I mean, some of them are important, some of them you created. In general, I don't know if you have a policy in this regards in terms of interoperability. So to what extent do you have, I know, an overall schema or some taxonomies that is interoperable with some standards or some existing schemas? Because you could imagine, different, for example, funding organization using different terminologies or vocabularies. And I think this is pretty much a challenge. I'm not sure to what extent there are some standards, but maybe there's something to explore. Maybe you have some thoughts on this.
For some things that exist, we've linked them in the actual description, but they're simple things like, what do we mean when we map to different, I mean, you will find like type, what type do we need of research outcomes, the preprint, postscript, article, things like that. There's links there, or, links to the vocabularies of the countries or the, I mean, you will see some things, but what you're saying is a bigger issue, that's true. And maybe Leonidas, I don't know if you have more insights because you're more into the provide.
Regarding this standard vocabulary, we use them in the OpenAIRE guidelines for the data sources. OpenAIRE guidelines are based on dataset schema and WCORE schema, and of course for some of the elements we get from a dataset, we use a custom OpenAIRE schema in order to enrich the information and the data that are available. And of course, we have the control vocabularies. We use the core control vocabularies for the access rights and for the resource types. And all this, of course, the data sources can put the funding information, but for funders, I don't know if and how would we use something this way, because especially for funders, our policy is to also to get information custom or even if on how they provide it, the API, the files, and we do not oblige them to go through a standard.
Yeah, although there are some initiatives trying to standardize things. I mean, recently in the meeting we had with a group from the Barcelona Declaration for the funders, the working group, there is issues like that. How could, funder metadata be standardized? And but
That would be
still,
great for us, yes.
yeah, of course, but it's
To do
too.
it, yes, like we do it for the data sources,
It's
for
so,
the repositories.
but it's yet quite premature, the discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe one last question, if I may. I'm sure maybe you already mentioned it, and I probably forgot the answer. Preprints versus publications. So are these separately shown in the dashboard, or merged, or in general, how good are they disentangled?
So in the OpenAIRE graph, they're actually as one entity, but then you can see the sources underneath. There should be. And now for the indicators, they're at the level of the publication of the, basically the DOI of the final publication. So if a preprint may be used, probably for the mining, if we don't have yet information initially, if we don't have the full text of the published publication. But I think because all indicators, Leonidas, are in the duplicated domain, right? So
Yes, deduplicated, and this is a good question. Maybe we should, especially for the preprints, we could showcase.
we don't at the moment separate them.
Maybe we have an indicator showcasing of the number of publications that have also a preprint for the institution.
We do
That
have
would
an
be a
indicator.
good.
We do have an indicator that shows the different sources for a
Yes, we
yeah.
have an indicator with different versions of the same research publications that exist in the graph, and how many copies there are in the graph.
But
Yeah,
of
because
You can
course,
see the information. You can see this information at the research product level in OpenAIRE Explorer, where you can browse for the publications and see all the different versions, the published article, the preprint, and then the duplicated records.
so for example, what you can see is if there is a publication that we can find in the graph already as a preprint, once the preprint is published and peer-reviewed, it will be substitute. So it's like a sort of chronology in which you can see, okay, there is an updated version of the same part that from preprint it's passed on peer review. But if you would like to have this specific indicator in your dashboard, we can speak together and think on how to do it.
yeah, I was thinking about cases where you have changes between the preprint and the actual publication. Sometimes you have changes in the title and the content, of course, but also even sometimes in the authors, maybe more rarely.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately, even in the funding statement, I've seen that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So these you might be able to devise some way to measure actually how how much of you can disentangle between the two, because there are cases where it's probably very difficult, very challenging to do this automatically.
Yes, if you change the title, for example, and the authors, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, of course,
Yeah,
it's probably very rare that you have both. I mean, but
yes,
Unless
even only
there
the
is
title. If you change only even the title, it's difficult to have
okay.
the duplication process correctly.
I'm not sure if in the metadata information you can have this kind of activities. So I think that in that case will fall more in working on policies for researchers to make sure that we have a streamline activities. But since you are a funder, what we can do is supporting you based on your policy and try to customize the way that we can find this kind of activities. So I think it's more from the policy at your level, and then we
Yeah,
can
no,
develop.
sure. By the way, Leonidas, sorry to extend a little bit. So if the title changes, but the preprint mentions the DOI, for example, after publication, can you still deduplicate?
Good question for the graph team.
Yes, if it is in the metadata,
Yeah,
on the data source that we aggregate, and we know that this information is there, we can do it. Yes. But we need to know that this information exists in the metadata. And in the future, if it also exists in the PDF, maybe with the data availability statements and the mining, we can also extract this information.
Yeah, we want to add that soon too. But Ahmad, you always have very interesting questions. I think we need a full session with all the team and the graph to actually, use your insights. It's always very useful.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know, because we've gone over time, and some people are leaving, if there's any
Hi.
other Hi.
Can I just add, because you mentioned the deduplication, and I may have a resource here. So there is specific, I'll share a link in the chat. There is a specific algorithm that we apply to the deduplication of publications or the software or data sets. So for publications, there is the automated algorithms go through different steps. And the first one is checking the IDs of the digital objects, and then it goes through the name of the authors and the ID of the authors, the title, and there is, and in the link that I shared, there's the map of the steps performed. So this can help understand what is analyzed in the duplication phase.
Yeah, thank you, Stefania. This is actually very useful. I forgot because a lot of the things are covered in the graph documentation. You're right.
Thank you, Stefania, and thank you, everyone. We are a bit late. Thank you, everyone, for your extra time and for your questions. Please feel free to contact us through the help desk. We would also like to remind you that we have our monitor community calls, and the next one is on 20th of May at 12 CET, and we will provide a registration link in the follow-up email. Thank you, everyone, and see you in our next call, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.